This episode of The Credit Pirates is brought to you by Credilife. Credilife.com.
Back in the 1950s, getting a loan wasn't about the numbers. It was about who you knew and if the banker liked your smile.
Banks weren't using data. They were making decisions based on handshakes and personal connections. If you lived in the wrong neighborhood or didn't have the right job, forget about it.
And then two guys, Bill Fair and Earl Isaac, came along with a radical idea. What if lending could be based on facts instead of feelings?
They went through thousands of loan files, searching for patterns, trying to find out why some people paid back loans and others didn't.
And they found it.
Turns out, the best predictor of future behavior was past behavior. If you paid on time before, you were likely to keep paying on time. If you didn't, well, lenders took that as a warning.
It was so powerful that when FICO was introduced in 1956, payment history became the biggest factor of your score, 35%.
Because at the end of the day, lenders don't care about how much you mean to pay. They care about whether you actually paid.
So if you want to keep your credit score afloat, it starts with one simple thing: make payments on time. Ahoy, mateys! Welcome aboard the Credit Pirates. I'm Captain Jeremy, along with my trusty Quartermaster Deryk, and the only skeleton who's never been on time for anything, Bones McGee. Arr! It'd be hard to keep track when you've been dead for 100 years. Today we're talking about why paying on time is the most important factor in your credit score. Make one payment late and your score will drop faster than Bones McGee in a stiff wind. Harsh, but fair.
Before we hoist the sails, here's a fun fact. Payment history makes up 35% of your FICO score, and that's the biggest chunk of your score.
35%? That's more than my cut of the treasure. Bones, that's because your cut usually ends up in the rum fund. Tell us in the comments below, have you ever bounced back from a late payment, or are you still trying to patch the holes in your credit score? Quartermaster Deryk, where are we headed today?
Here's today's map to the treasure. Why paying on time matters. How late payments affect your score. Why autopay can save you. Fixing the damage from late payments. Building consistent payment habits.
Or just pay with gold doubloons. Works every time.
This is CNN.
Ahoy there, folks. Welcome to this week's CNN Scallywag of the Week, the part of the show where we troll the murky depths of social media to dredge up the most rotten credit advice floating about. Some of these so-called tips are so off course they'd scuttle your finances quicker than a ship hitting a reef. Others may sparkle like treasure but turn out to be nothing more than fool's gold, ready to sink unsuspecting sailors. But worry not. We're here at the helm to guide ye true and keep your financial ship steady. So let's dive into this week's Scallywag, who's made a real mess of credit waters.
I'm not even going to say who this is because this is this week's Scallywag. I'm not even going to tell you who this is because this is the best of his videos. The rest get just progressively worse. If you want to find them on your own, knock yourself out. But we're gonna listen to what our friend here has to say. It's if you gave a collection status labeled open or late. If you gave a collection status,
If you gave it, open or late.
And if you build it, they will come. And if you gave it, apparently it's labeled open or late. Let's watch.
I want you to check your credit report immediately. If
Wait, hang on. He wants us to check our credit report
you have a
immediately.
collection status that says
all right,
open or late, that is an FCRA violation.
If you have a
The
collection
must be removed off of your credit report.
It is not.
Immediately. If you want to dispute this,
It must not.
You can use
It must not.
1692G to get it deleted.
sounds fancy. 16. Oh, that's fantastic. That is actually request for validation. It's the UCC law that tells you that if you dispute it, the collection company must stop while they investigate that for a period of 30 days. They also must give you notification that they're collecting on the debt 5 days after they start. It has nothing to do with getting a collection deleted, but I digress.
And don't
Let's see what else
forget
he
to
has to say.
dispute the CMI of your profile. If you need help with your credit, let me know. Follow for more.
The one thing I've got to say about that was it was short. It was short.
That was the best part.
The best thing I have to say about that. Okay, so if you've got a collection, an open collection, for example, that's reporting open on your credit, that's not a violation. That's not a reason for deletion. In fact, if you've got an open collection that's reporting as open, that's because the collection is open. That's what that means.
I think there's a pretty distinct difference between an original creditor and a third-party collection company.
Totally.
And when you use the word collection, but you're not saying who holds the account, you're automatically doing a disservice to those listening. And then you're talking about statuses, whether it's open, closed. Like there's different lines for each separate account. And if he doesn't distinctly tell you what we're specifically talking about and what the violation is, none of it applies.
That's exactly correct. You know, a collection with a third-party collector, that could be Midland or LVNV or Portfolio Recovery, they're the big guys, right? Or any of these folks. If the collection is unpaid, if it has not been settled, if it's open and it's active and it reports open, that's correct. That is accurate. Now you can still investigate it and say, hey, prove it's correct, verify it's accurate, verify it's open, verify that's the amount, and you may be able to get it deleted through the investigation process with letters to the bureaus.
But it's not immediately.
Correct. I wish it was immediate. If it was immediate, my gosh, there'd be a bigger line around the block to talk to Captain Jeremy about getting your credit repaired. But no, that's not a reason for immediate deletion. It's not illegal. It's not immoral. It's not unethical. Now, if they're reporting it as late, if Midland or someone like that is reporting a collection as late, that's not actually accurate, because you can't be late on a collection because it's already late. That's why it's a collection. It's due all at once. But open and closed are the criteria you want to look for in those third-party collections. And this is, once again, a really good reason that you should not listen to the gurus on TikTok when it comes to credit repair. You should always listen to grown adults who are dressed up as pirates every time. Imagine this. You've got perfect credit. You're approved for a shiny new car, but then you miss a payment and suddenly your score drops 100 points. Your loan terms get worse overnight. The only thing worse than a missed payment is explaining it to your mother. Now imagine the opposite. You stay on top of all your payments and lenders treat you like royalty. That's the power of paying on time.
Raise your hooks if you've ever had a late payment fee because you forgot.
Me hook is raised. I also forgot to feed the parrot. Here's why paying on time matters. Late payments can stay on your report for 7 years. One missed payment can drop your score by 100 points. Auto pay helps avoid missed payments. No excuses. Communicate with your creditor if you think you're going to be making your payment late. They'll often work with you. And while one late payment isn't the end of the world, try not to make it a habit. Or just don't pay at all. Problem solved.
Bones, no.
Quartermaster Deryk, why is paying on time the most critical part of your credit score?
Well, that's because it directly affects the biggest portion of the algorithm for the FICO scoring system, payment history. If you miss a payment, it's going to rock your score depending on how thick the file is.
Absolutely. In the FICO algorithm, on-time payments, if you've ever seen the FICO wheel, it's a pie chart that breaks up the different weight given to different things in your FICO score. If you've ever taken a look at that, you'll find that on-time payments are responsible, or payment history is responsible for 35% of your FICO score. I mean, that's a huge portion, the biggest portion by far. And when you think about it, it really makes sense. All a credit history is a history of your ability and willingness to repay on borrowed money. So when you think about what would you want to know if you were going to lend somebody money, you'd want to know, how have they done otherwise? Do they typically pay back their debts? Do they pay their debts on time? One thing to remember when it comes to making your on-time payments is that one late payment will take 24 on-time payments to make up for. So that little bump in the road can cause a real ripple down the road in your FICO score. So what different things can you do, Quartermaster Deryk, to make sure that you don't have late payments?
It's super important, especially today's day and age, where you're not sitting there getting a bill in the mail and having to get your check register out, write a check, make sure your accounts are balanced. If you know the money's in your account, set up auto pay. Set up auto pay on your credit card where it's going to use a utilization between 1% and 3%, and then auto pay your checking account to pay that credit card off as long as it's either on the due date or before, to make sure that you're going to only use that sweet spot we've already talked about of that 1% to 3%. And now you're not worried about going into debt. You're not worried about using your card frivolously. You're going to be being extremely responsible, but yet you're never going to have a missed or late payment.
That's really the beauty of auto pay. It's the old set it and forget it. You set up the at least minimum payment, because if you're going to set up an auto pay, maybe you do end up using in a month more than what the minimum payment would be, but you've at least got that minimum payment set up on auto pay. So worst case scenario, you're still making on-time payments, even if you do choose to carry a little bit of a balance from month to month. Another tactic a lot of people do is setting up payment reminders for common bills that you pay. As Quartermaster Deryk, you mentioned, these days we're getting more and more of our communications electronically, and you're tracking your accounts through an app on your cell phone. The days of getting essentially that reminder in the mail are often long gone. In fact, a lot of different accounts will give you incentives, lower rates, lower fees if you go for paperless billing. The problem with paperless billing, if you have not set up an automatic payment system, or if you're on something that doesn't offer auto pay, the problem with that is you no longer get that trigger of when to pay. So setting up payment reminders, either using a payment calculator or putting notifications on the calendar in your phone, can be a very useful way to make sure you never miss a payment on time. So Quartermaster Deryk, late payments, how do they affect loan terms? I mean, really, why does it matter if you pay late?
It matters because all your credit score is just a risk assessment of whether you're going to pay back that loan or not. And if you're giving any inclination that you're going to be late or not make any payments at all, you're in increased risk for that lender. And that lender has a legal and moral and ethical obligation to their company to make sure that they're assessing their risk and that their portfolio is well balanced. So if you are having any late payments, you're considered a higher risk, which means you're going to have higher interest rates compared to those that don't.
That makes sense. The reality is, aside from making up the most crucial factor of your FICO score, on-time payments make a difference if you're going for a larger item. You're going for a car loan, you're going for a mortgage loan, where you've got an underwriter, you've got somebody who's looking at your credit report to make these decisions. And guess what, guys? They're going to turn the page. Your credit scores are right there on the front page, and that's great, and that'll tell them a lot of things. But that underwriter will turn the page, and even if you have a decent score, but they see some late payments, it's going to raise questions. It's going to raise their perception of how risky you are to lend money to, and it's going to affect things like your terms, your rates, and if you get approved at all. Tell us in the comments below what steps you've taken to make sure your payments are on time each and every month.
That advice cat says paying on time builds trust. Missing payments builds character. Who needs trust when you've got character?
Captain, crew member Olivia asked, if I pay a bill 2 days late, will it hurt my score?
Great question, Olivia. Not if it's under 30 days late, but try not to make it a habit.
Today, everything is impacted by credit, so it's absolutely vital to understand how credit works in order to achieve financial freedom.
This is why we started Credit Life, so that we can empower others to shift their money mindset and access better investment and credit opportunities.
We want to maximize your buying power and allow you to take control of your financial future. With our programs and strategies, we can expedite the process of improving your credit profile and credit score.
Despite what many believe, how we manage our money is far more important than how much money we make.
A lot of people are concerned about their ability to qualify for a mortgage, lowering their interest rates, or just managing their debt.
Through our coaching programs and our trademark Credit Builder Blueprint, our clients not only save money and lower their interest rates, but learn how to get out of debt and finally achieve peace of mind.
We don't just support our clients' financial goals, we educate and empower them to create long-term strategies.
If you're trying to buy a home, start a new business, get a loan, get out of debt, or just want to improve your credit score, visit us online and fill out the contact request form.
Here's how to pay on time the pirate way. Automate payments, pay early when possible, and keep a payment calendar.
Hey, guess what, Captain? We have some viewer mail. Dear Credit Pirates, how long does a late payment stay on your report? Delinquent Deb.
Great question, Deb. One late payment can stay on your credit for 7 years, but consistent on-time payments will help you recover.
Here's what you need to remember about paying on time. Pay on time every time. It's the #1 factor in your credit score for a reason. Set up auto pay. One less thing to worry about. Don't panic if you miss a payment. Fix it fast and get back on track. Communicate with your lender. They'd rather work with you than chase you down. Consistency builds trust. Keep at it and you'll see your score rise.
Our lenders like consistency almost as much as they like charging you interest. And remember, crew, a good credit score doesn't happen overnight. It's earned through patience, discipline, and the wisdom of a seasoned pirate. Now, before we sail away, don't forget to join the crew. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, that always makes Bones happy, and share the bounty with other potential crew members. And check out the Credit Pirates podcast on Spotify. And if you'd like to support the show, become a member on Patreon or just send doubloons. And until next time, check your credit report, pay your debts, and don't let anyone touch your booty.
Gather round me hearties, let's talk about credit with a clever guide aboard you'll never regret it. From scores that be sinking to debts that run high, we'll chart a course together, just give it a try. Yo ho, let your credit score soar. With laughter and wisdom, you'll learn so much more. Trim those bad habits, raise your sails to the sky. With Jeremy as captain, we'll watch your scores fly. The tales they will tell of the debts that is there. Like debt's just a friend, but we know it's a scare. With budgeting tricks and a jolly good cheer, you'll sail through the waters with nothing to fear. Yo ho, let your credit score soar. With laughter and wisdom, you'll learn so much more. Trim those bad habits, raise your sails to the sky. With Jeremy as captain, we'll watch your scores fly. The tales they will tell of the debts that is there. Like debt's just a friend, but we know it's a scare. With budgeting tricks and a jolly good cheer, you'll sail through the waters with nothing to fear. Yo ho, let your credit score soar. With laughter and wisdom, you'll learn so much more. Trim those bad habits, raise your sails to the sky. With Jeremy as captain, we'll watch your scores fly. We'll watch your scores fly. So if you feel lost in the credit abyss, join in for some laughs, it's a financial bliss. With a wink and a grin, we'll navigate right. Together we'll conquer from morning till night. Yo ho, let your credit score soar. With laughter and wisdom, you'll learn so much more. Trim those bad habits, raise your sails to the sky. With Jeremy as captain, we'll watch your scores fly. So thanks for joining in, we'll see you next week with more jolly tales and the tips that you seek. Remember, good mates, it's all in good fun. With the crew by your side, your journey's just begun.